I think I'll come to you, in fact, Anshulika, that the role of mentorship is so critical for any entrepreneur, right? And especially when you're starting out, and a forum like this is essentially to connect mentors to young, promising entrepreneurs. Tell me about your perspectives on having been able to get a mentor, and is there a difference in?
When I was in class 11th, so for 2 years in class 11th and 12th, I didn't carry a lunchbox. She would give me 10 rupees in the morning and say, samosa kha lena. And so one day I was like, listen, what is this? You can't not give me my lunchbox, right? You have to get up in the morning and all of that. So she just turns back and says that, listen, it's inhuman of you to expect me to get up in the morning at 6 o'clock to cook lunch for you just because I'm your mother. I'm a human being first. So my lesson on individuality was when I was 17 years old, and I was like, that is so true. I mean, that's so sad. How can I expect my mother to do that? I think that is exactly what I feel happens with women. And in fact, I'm talking about, now this was my mom's generation. I'm talking about my generation now. We want to have it all, which is great, right? But not having it all shouldn't make you feel guilty. You should always aspire to, go all out and make sure you balance the house, you have a family and all of that. Those are great aspirations. Those are the aspirations equally for men, that they can't be, having meetings till 2 o'clock in the morning when, his wife is waiting or whatever, they have dinner scenes. So it's for both the people, but it has to come from your upbringing, and if it has not, then you should probably do it for your child now. Whoever it is, the daughter or the son. So.
Yeah, that's true. Fantastic. Sairee, I'll bring you in here to say that, she touched upon the aspect of social conditioning that you expect, especially mothers. And I mean, we've seen that in the workplace, and, your research and experience would say that most women fall off in that 28 to 35 age group when you begin to have children, and, that coming back journey is difficult. Would you say that the social conditioning of how women are judged and also judge themselves often becomes an impediment to growth?
Absolutely. I think two things stand very clearly. I think women are definitely judged on performance, and a lot of men do get judged on potential. Let's just stack up the checks written in the VC world, and that will come out very clear. The second thing that happens is, let's face it, women run the caregiving economy, and can we start to acknowledge that they are caregivers to elders, to pets, to homes, to families, and we have this little blind side to say either success means doing the cool, shiny startup or doing nothing. How about we start accepting the version of the maze and not the ladder, and let people navigate their choices. Let's populate the choices they have, and we live in a knowledge-led, service-led, technology-led world where these choices can be increased, they can be populated. Every woman can find her own version of success. And the gap that comes in is because we have defined success as 0 or 100. What about we come out and say, let us populate this pool, and if more women stay on, they don't fall off their own career maps, chances are we will have more successful stories because they've at least stayed the course, and they'll figure out their time, they'll figure out the scale, but they are on the path. They're on the path that they choose to take.
My question is, whatever we are doing today, is it what we really wanted to do, or has it been a conditioning because of our gender? So you're saying that it's a caregiving economy, that women are in that sector. Is it something that we always wanted to do?
No, I'm not talking about the sector. Okay. I'm saying they run our homes. Can we start acknowledging that? They've been running it. So basically, the point is, if there are only 17% women who are in formal workforce, and we are a country of a large base of women who stay at home, and women who pretty much run our homes and families, can we start by just respecting that? We've come to a point where success only means one thing and nothing else.
So it's like both seats or nothing, right?
Yeah, it's 0 or 100. Why don't we sort of start respecting, and there is potential. To start tapping potential, you have to acknowledge it first. Right? That's what I'm saying.
So I think, Neha, you might have an interesting insight here, because I've often felt, I've been sort of seen Pradhan's work, which is an NGO and does fantastic work in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, and around self-help groups for women, where the women are incredible. I mean, the kind of work that they do, and they really hold both the economy and the families together. Are there lessons from maybe rural India where you work, where, the women's character there is incredible, right? They're up against so much, that you've tried to inculcate or imbibe as a woman entrepreneur, that you would like to share as a lesson for others?
Yes, if I may start with that, the basic impact of the product is in terms of health, is in terms of fuel savings and all of that. But over all these years of sales, I've realized that the biggest value you can add to women in rural India is saving them time. They are so busy. They may not have formal jobs, but they are going out, taking care of their families, cooking meals, which is actually saving money if you go and eat outside. They're taking care of their children's education, saving on tutors. They have a whole lot of work to do in the farm, in the field. I also have this, we were discussing this amongst friends just now, that जैसे ही हम किसी किसान की बात करते हैं, किसान का, I use the word farmer and the image that comes to your mind is a man wearing white clothes. That is not true. That is not true. So many women in India spend time in the field. औरत भी किसान है. ये चीज़ आपको समझनी पड़ेगी, माननी पड़ेगी. And things like that. Women are so busy. They are running this economy in amazing ways, contributing so much more than what we give them credit for. And I won't talk about the biases and other things. Biases exist against men also, against women also, and we've established that. But the point is that we actually need to start respecting women on, like Sairee said, their potential. We don't need to judge them only after they've performed to a level where, there's no doubt left. We need to give women a chance beyond what we are giving right now. And women in rural India, it's amazing. I mean, I feel inadequate at times for, not working enough or not, caring enough either. I don't have a family, but still, that's the point. I mean, women run this country. Let's start accepting that.
Also I think with Ashwini and Sairee that we come to the point that, for us, and I think you tweeted about that, and I saw your tweet this morning that said that, we still have the lowest common denominator to worry about, safety, right? The mobility as a woman executive or as a woman professional that you face in terms of, going out late for meetings. Is that also something that certainly, the entrepreneurial community or people with ideas, that we need to sort of fix that urgently as well, because that physical infrastructure is also much more limiting than people can understand or imagine. Ashwini, maybe if you could.
For women especially, I think we were talking earlier and Upasana was saying that, there is not going to be one ideal day when everything in the world is going to be green and safe and sustainable and happy and whatever. I mean, you have to do what you have to do. So let's not wait for that ideal day and let's just cross every bridge that comes across. And, I also feel that I think women don't realize that their biggest interest, the person who's going to have the biggest interest for them in mind is themselves. Nobody else is going to look after them and say, I have her biggest interest in mind. I'm going to say that for myself. And I think that's something women don't acknowledge or don't want to accept. So unless they start feeling their interest is their biggest interest, it's probably not going to change.
Well, so I'm going to start with Upasana and give us your 3 tips, 3 advice that you want to give young women entrepreneurs here, the 3 gems of insight that helped you.
Firstly, forget you are a woman, you are a human being. Secondly, do what you need to do. I mean, nobody ever tells, there has been discussion about social conditioning and all of that. Like, when you are a kid, you want to play cricket, you play cricket. I mean, who's going to stop you, right? Like, similarly, nobody trains us or coaches us at home or at college or university saying that you should become an entrepreneur. Similarly, nobody trains us or coaches us and says that you should become a stay-at-home mom. These are all your choices. So it's your life. You can do whatever you want and it doesn't matter what your gender is. I think that's how I would go about it. I've never listened to anybody in my life anyways. I don't listen to my mother, father, husband, anyone. So you always do your own thing. Don't look for external validation.
Fantastic.
I think women need to also stop being, if I may take the liberty of saying this, I feel that the women who have been, at least the ones that who have the wherewithal and are in this, cities and towns, they're slightly hypocritical. Like they need to start loving themselves. They need to stop looking for reservations and waiting for men to pick up their seats and open the door. I mean, that's not how, chivalry is defined, or it's not, somebody does it, it's great. He should have done it for a man also, why not? So I guess women need to stop expecting things because they are women. So I think that's exactly what she said, that don't think that you're a woman.
Neha, what about you?
Yeah, so just building up on that, I just have one piece of input, not even advice. That is that if you see any injustice, these biases are essentially injustice. If you see any of that happening, speak up. point it out, speak up there and then. I mean, don't feel bad, don't think that, I'll forget about it. Just speak up there and then, put your hand on the table, be militant about it, but just make sure that you speak up there and then.
Because actually a lot of the intention can sometimes be well-intentioned, right? Or a lot of the bias, can be well-intentioned. I was speaking to somebody because I'm doing a story on Mint and, unconscious bias. And they said that, they came back from a maternity break and their boss thought that he was doing her a huge favor by actually cutting her workload and giving her sort of an easier role. She said, I'm coming, I'm leaving my child, leaving my home, and I want to come and do kick-ass work because that's what it makes sense for me at the workplace. So, yeah, I've taken a break. So it was also that, having her, she had to help him understand that it was well-intentioned and she appreciated that concern, but actually that might eventually limit her growth. Sairee, I know you feel differently from some of them, and does it make you, of course, at one level, heartens you that they're confident young women, who feel that the world is out there for them and they feel no bias, but that the reality isn't sometimes sort of, you aren't only self-driven. There are constructs that we all live in. How do these anecdotes make you feel?
Yeah, so I think, let's face it, we in the room are the stubborn sperm, right? So let's sort of zoom out and look at the larger majority. If you want, an average middle-class woman from a small college in Trichy to come up with a startup which is as powerful as the next person in the metro, then some things will have to change. At least the conversation will have to change. At least the percolation of opportunities will have to change. Even the messaging that there are people with no godfathers and no family backgrounds or no sort of big support out there can make them. So I think being a role model is one thing everyone can do if they're empowered enough. But let's face it, once you're a role model, then you have more responsibility on your shoulders. Then it becomes your job to open more doors. Then it becomes your job to go out, speak to more people who perhaps may not be in the same place. They might be other invisible barriers. They might be institutional barriers. For example, a very small barrier nobody talks about, there is no way you can get small institutional funding. Not everybody is raising VC money, but there's no small institutional funding for somebody who runs a service business or a smaller setup or is trying to do something even as an idea. Why wouldn't we want to work on that? Because it impacts millions of people in one go. I mean, we're superbly privileged to be in this room, but let's grow it outside of our system as well.